This is Jet 6R6 of the Secura clan, and yet another naval battle for you, this time against a person called Predator, and the map is Island Chain. My fleet have taken pretty much the standard setup once again, so I have my admiral ship, 2 cannon boon which are out in front, 5 siege tower boon, and this little matchlock Kobayar down the bottom here. At the moment just holding on the left here, just waiting to see what my opponent's going to do. I can see he's split his fleet into 2 already. So he has 2 cannon boon, his admiral ship, 2 firebomb Kobayar, and 2 attacker boon, which he's currently placed on the left here. And these firebomb ships he's using to plant mines, securing the approaches to his actual fleet. So what I'm going to start doing is moving my fleet around the left of the island here. I'm going to speed this up. And I'm hoping to draw him in and create some kind of weakness in his line. All the time keeping my units fairly close to my cannon ships, so if he comes towards me in a rushed kind of move, then I can bring those ships in front and bring the cannons away and still use them during the battle. Here he is bringing his firebomb ships out front. Unfortunately he brings them into range of my cannon boons. He's trying to drop a defensive mine screen in front of his fleet here, but he's going to lose one of his ships doing this. What I'm setting up to do at some point is to rush his cannon ships and hopefully take out both his cannon ships, leaving at least one of my cannon ships behind to give some kind of supremacy. But it looks like his fleet's moving to left and now he starts changing direction to the right. So while my attack ships are starting to deploy on the left, I'm going to switch those around fairly soon to the right and use those to bring the fight to him first. As you can see, sea battles are quite long and quite drawn out, which is why it's worth skipping some of the boring stuff while waiting to see what's going to happen. And I can see that his cannon ships are now on the right of his main fleet. What I'm going to start doing now is position all my attack ships on the right so I can move forward and charge the right flank of his fleet as we're looking at it and take out his cannon ships fairly early. This is what it looks like from his perspective. As you can see, his cannon ships on the left here are fairly isolated, so when I charge up his flank I'm going to catch them on their own. There are some mines in between my fleet and his fleet, although I'm not going to worry too much about those. So you can see the mines floating in the water around here. Like I said, I'm just going to go through those. So this is what my opponent is seeing. So I'm positioning my fleet on my right flank as I was looking at it, or his left flank. You can see he also keeps his admiral ship close to his cannon boon, which is something I often do. And now I'm going to charge in at full speed. leading with some of these units first. So ideally I want to keep my cannon boon for as long as possible, because they're going to be the main factor that wins this match. So assuming his ships are targeting automatically, they're going to shoot upon this screen of ships here first, which is what's happened. The ship's a little bit more staggered than I would like. I would ideally like them a bit closer together, moving in for a kind of rush effect. And now I'm in range, I'm going to my cannon ship broadside and return fire. What I would as you can see, concentrating on one of his cannon boon ships there, so hopefully going to take this one out of battle fairly quickly. And now I'm going to bring my fleet into range to start taking out the cannon ships first. I'm not too worried about these ships at the front line here, these siege tower units. They look like they're going to rout. I've got the firepower, the cannon boon at the back there, which is going to be doing a lot of the work. And these ships are going to try and bring them all in close together, use the overarching fire to try and take down these melee ships. What my opponent's going to try and do is try and board these ships where he can, because he's got the melee supremacy, but using the siege tower boom and the superior firepower, I'm going to try and prevent his ships from doing that. These attacker boon are really quite powerful if you let them get in close, especially if they're going to board, but to be honest, against siege tower ships it's very rare that they actually get in close enough or survive long enough if you've got enough siege tower units for them to actually board. So he's going to attempt to board here. As you can see, under a lot of concentrated fire, and they've taken a lot of damage already. You can see my second cannon ship is back in the fight, but to be honest I probably don't need it, so I'm just going to leave it out there for the moment. And I'm going to concentrate all the fire on his admiral ship, which is isolated on its own. I'm going to start dealing out a lot of damage to the crew of this ship. Again, I want to keep my ships quite close to the enemy routing ships, so I want to make them surrender rather than allow them to rejoin. And we've just killed his admiral on the front of the ship there. Okay, so that's most of his fleet now surrendered. We've got one ship left at the back here, so I'm just going to bring the rest of my fleet in quite close, the siege tower boons, and keep firing away with the cannon boon at the back there. And you'll see that this will quite quickly do the job. You see he's trying to make a run for my cannon boon there, but with all the wrecked ships around it's going to be quite difficult for him to get that close. And now this battle's pretty much over. I'm Jet 6R6 of the Honourable Secure clan, and I hope you enjoyed this video. There will be more.